everybody. Welcome to nasscom webinar. And today we have a very exciting topic to discuss. And we also have, to my pleasure, two ladies to discuss the same with. I would first like to welcome Anitha George, Vice President, Celonis, India, Center of Excellence and APAC Service Leader, and Kavetha Velavan, Global Head of Operations Excellence and Center of Excellence, Upfield. And the topic today we have is to discuss process mining and how can that be leveraged to, for enterprises to go through their own transformation, and that too towards the journey of sustainability. Thank you, Anitha. Thank you, Kavetha. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Sukanya.
Super. Very excited to get started. There's a lot of buzz about process mining. Anitha, I would like to first ask you if you can help us kind of demystify what really process mining is. How's that different from process improvement that has been on for decades now? And how do organizations go through this, this initiative of process mining?
Yeah. Thank you, Sukanya. Let me dive right in. Now, as an organization grows, so do their digital footprints. Over time, a business process running in a complex organization sometimes spans across multiple systems, and it becomes increasingly difficult to track a process end to end. Now, process mining is a technique by which we extract an execution log of a process as it executes through digital systems, and it creates an end-to-end map of multiple occurrences of a process as it executes. There are four basic steps to process mining. The first being discover. And in the discover step, it helps discover the process and gives you an X-ray view of the process. Just like, you look at an X-ray of your bones, this gives you an X-ray of your process. The second step is to check. This will help check if there are execution gaps in a process and also if there are any performance bottlenecks. The third is predict, and this will help predict the next step based on the learning from the data. So there is this data that is extracted about the process, and based on how the process is executed and what the data shows, it will predict what the next step is, as well as provide suggestions to change. And lastly, it supports businesses take the right action to move forward on the process. So this is in a nutshell what process mining is. And to answer your second question, now traditionally, when you looked at an enterprise optimization or transformation, you always thought BPM, Lean Six Sigma, these were the buzzwords. Now, process mining is a technique which greatly enhances this in the digital world by truly making it data-driven. So, for instance, if you look at BPM, process mining gives a data-driven approach to BPM. Otherwise, it is an exercise that you do on paper, speaking to people. If you look at, typical Lean Six Sigma exercise, and, you have the steps, it follows the actions of define, measure, analyze, improve, control. Now, process mining can actually automate your Six Sigma process discovery, and it can be used to eliminate all non-value-added activities and, reduce waste, which is the objective. And if you look at, the conforming checking part, it helps improve the quality of the value-added activities. And, in the process, deviations can be found and diagnosed easily. So this is, what process mining can do for you. And increasingly, a number of organizations are finding the power of process mining and are adopting it.
Sounds very exciting. And I'm sure there are organizations which have been able to leverage its value and create a great impact for themselves. Kavetha, I want to bring you in to discuss your experience on how process mining can truly be leveraged to create an impact on business.
Yeah. First off, let me first thank both nasscom and Celonis for giving me the opportunity to be part of this discussion. And I'll piggyback on what Anitha was saying. I have come down that path of the Lean Six Sigma and CMMI and all that, right? Which is essentially getting your processes from the current state to a more mature state. As recently it's become more formalized and more structured, and I've been using process mining even now in Upfield. We use process mining techniques with both tools, and without tools, we also do process audit and use the concept of process mining. I think from an application standpoint, I've seen it more applicable in areas of where you're measuring your service levels, you want to improve your service levels. Those are easy processes to go after using process mining techniques and figure out where the gaps are, and then how you would improve your efficiency levels. Same thing on source to pay side, procurement, invoices. I've seen it work a lot in the supply chain side, logistics as well. I think industry-wise, I've used it in pharmaceutical, in energy, and now in manufacturing, food manufacturing. I think one of the sort of easier examples that I would like to quote for everyone that might be more familiar to them is about increasing customer order service levels or fulfillment levels. So in our customer service in the US, we've been doing some process mining techniques this year, and we essentially brought the rate of touchless orders from 20% to about 48%. And what we found out is initially when we went in and did the initial measure, like the X-ray process that Anita was talking about, we found that we've been touching our orders multiple times. Customer service, they're very tactical. They go in and they just, keep doing what needs to be done, editing the same data, not asking the question, why am I editing the same data? Maybe we need to look at the root cause and fix it. So that's what we essentially did. And what we found out was we were touching the orders multiple times for route changes and changing the requested delivery date. Shipping conditions was commonly coming up, and overweight calculation was off. So as we went down through process mining, we looked at what are the reasons we are touching our orders. And then we took that and we essentially said, okay, how do I make it more automated so that overweight calculations are properly done, so someone doesn't have to touch it and update it? As we did this, that is what brought it up from 20% to 47%, and our service levels went up from 90% to 98%, especially with big customers like Walmart. So that's, I think, a more sort of easier example for everyone to understand. Obviously, there's other things we've been doing. We've been measuring logistics, and we've been measuring customer claims processes, how we can make that easier. I think in one line, the front end is about doing an X-ray of your process and figuring out why you're touching it, or what is it that you can make it efficient. The back end is either you fix it with an automation, or you will be able to say, okay, I need to make my process more efficient.
This is very exciting indeed. And the example you shared was very pertinent. I think sometimes there is incremental efficiencies that come in, and we are very happy and content with that. And we don't understand that there could be other redundancies that we're probably not even looking at, and just being happy with that incremental effort that we're getting. There's one question from the audience. I just want to pause and take it. And Anitha, maybe to you, this one. Is there a difference between task mining and process mining? And if so, what is the difference?
Yeah. So task mining, it's subtly different. Task mining is usually typically done when you enable a bot on your desktop, and you track all the tasks that you're doing, during the day or for a period in time. And with task mining bots, you can actually select which are the applications that you want to include in your task mining, and you create the entire sequence of steps that that a person is executing on that machine during the day is tracked. So, and process mining is really looking at the data that is running through a digital system. Now, it need not be on a specific laptop or machine. This is as the process executes, and it is stored in multiple digital systems, like record keeping systems. Could be an ERP, it could be a supply chain system or a HCM system, but the information of a process. You look at the process end to end and look at, all the activities that happen on the digital system. So subtly different. You in fact combine task mining and process mining when you want to also track the other activities other than what you're tracking, on your digital systems. You want to include this also into your process mining. Then you augment, your process mining with the task mining input.
Lots of different things, but yeah, different impact of them. Now it's easy, right? For an organization, I'm sure there are many processes, many value chains, many life cycles to map, and there are opportunities everywhere. And when an organization is embarking on this journey, it can be challenging for someone to kind of think through how to prioritize. So in your mind, Kavetha, and I'll ask you this question because you have leveraged it across the enterprise. Is there a framework or is there a thought in your mind in terms of how should one prioritize where to apply process mining? Is there a guideline to help think through this?
Yeah, I think what I tell, or where we started in our organization is, and this sort of happens in every organization, when you establish your processes, the first thing you establish is, along with your processes, is also some sort of measurement. There's always KPIs and targets that you're going after. Then I would say, if you're looking at your KPIs and wherever you're not meeting your KPI, then the next step is, how do you figure out what is going wrong? Why am I not meeting my KPI? And that's an area to start with and say, okay, let me dig deeper into this process. And that's how we started ours. So we looked at our customer service level KPIs, and same thing on the invoice P2P KPIs. And that's where we said, okay, why are we not reaching our target levels? Why are we not meeting the number of orders processed or our SLAs with the customers? Or why do we have so many returns? And then we take that and then we go into our order to cash process. And we started looking at all the way, it's a macro view initially. So you look at it all the way from order to the cash and see where you're bleeding in your process. Basically, you have a lot of dead touches, and that's what process mining shows you. And that's sort of a good way to start. Otherwise, it's too big and too wide. I would say whatever is your KPIs that's important to you, then maybe that's an area to kind of start with. And Anitha, if you wanted to add anything.
I mean, I have a follow-on question, and maybe Anitha or Kavetha, you want to take. Is there a way to evaluate the readiness of the process? I mean, we usually look at it in a 2x2, right? Impact, and you spoke about impact, right? Where there is leakage. From a readiness point of view, are there parameters to look into saying, is this process really ready for process mining?
For me, I think, and this is a very business perspective and coming from operational excellence, any process is always ready for you to go in and improve. I don't think there's a starting point, right? Our organizations might have a starting point, but any process is always ready for more improvement. And it's a whole continual improvement mindset, right? It's more about, there's, like you mentioned earlier, even if you improve, we don't want to get complacent with whatever improvement we have done, because 3 months later, if you go back and look at the process, because our technology landscape, data landscape constantly changes. So that's why I think a continual improvement cycle is important, which means any process is always ready for more improvement.
Yeah,
makes complete sense. Sorry, Anitha, anything from you on this point?
Yeah, so to add here, now I mean, process mining typically looks at extracting a digital process log or execution log, and the digital applications really works well when the process is digitized. And if there are manual steps and it's not completely digitized, then you leverage task mining, or you do the simple task of keeping track of what you're doing when, on, a simple digital log and, augment this information with your, digital process information. So all of this is possible, as long as, you have a set of steps, that you have logged even on an Excel sheet. You can use this as, to do process mining. So like Kavetha said, any process, anytime is ready for mining.
Thank you for that insight. Anitha, I'll come to a very important topic now. Sustainability has been high on focus for all organizations, and rightly so, because we are in a world where we'll have to think about the long term and we'll have to prepare for so. Is there a way process mining can enable organizations in that journey? If you can give us examples, and if so, what are some of those areas?
Okay, yeah, definitely. You've heard Kavetha talk about optimizing, and you think that when a process is digitized, it is optimized, but then you realize when you run process mining, there's still further optimization possible. So, this is the start to really run your process more sustainably, because over time it can eliminate any non-value added activities and reduce waste. Okay, so if you look at conformance checking, it can improve the quality of the value added activities, and deviations can be found and diagnosed early. And process mining is really 100% compliance checking on your process. So you know that you have not missed out any check. Okay, so this is looking at the process mining itself, how it can help sustainability. Now, today organizations are also capturing a lot of information in their digital systems pertaining to the ESG emissions sustainably. For instance, if you look at suppliers, now organizations do have a log of which are their suppliers who are more compliant to global ESG standards. Now, and you can use process mining to evaluate your entire, procurement process and, move towards sustainable spend management, where you prioritize high-risk suppliers who are non-conformant to compliance standards and move to, more high-rated suppliers. So that's something that you can achieve, leveraging process mining. And, the other thing is if you want to move towards alternative fuel and, to comply to ESG standards, you can use process mining to identify opportunities in your supply chain that are prime for fuel switching and, opt for more renewable sources for reducing costs as well as complying with standards. Okay, and another important use case that I've seen is digital waste management. So, sensors that analyze waste flow into, can be, you can connect these sensors into a process mining platform, and operations can gauge the quantity of waste discharge across several points in real time. And, this is analyzing the digital flow, digital twin that you create, for your, waste management system. And this can help in increasing recycling rates, minimize contamination, and also, maintaining your waste protocol threshold. The last, I'd like to talk about is, when you look at your entire shipping process, and, order bundling and shipping consolidation is something that most, organization would do. And, you can use leverage process mining for this. So you can pinpoint opportunities to bundle orders based on factors such as delivery location, shipment sizes, and routes. And, this will help organizations streamline their logistics and again, minimize unnecessary transportation and ensure that, you have fully loaded shipment going to a particular location, overall reducing your carbon footprint. So these are, some of the examples, that I have seen where our customers have leveraged process mining, to meet their sustainability goals.
I think very diverse examples, Anitha, you gave us, I think applicable to so many industries and so many contexts. So I think it's more for people to kind of imagine and see how to apply it. We have one question from our audience, and the question is on how can process mining support an automation effort in an organization? Is there a way, I mean, does it complement and augment it in any way?
It absolutely does. I think, RPA and process mining can work independently, and RPA, you can automate without process mining. But the way I see it, automating without process mining is like doing a surgery without, an MRI. So, once you have an MRI of your, processes, or you have an X-ray of your bones, and and you process mine your processes to figure out where the inefficiencies are, you can you can automate right. So I think it complements RPA or automation and helps you build the right automation and the right logic into your automation. And even if the context changes, the continuous learning with process mining can help you to continue improving your automation so that it meets your requirement.
Sounds really relevant. Kavetha, one question to you. How should organizations, what measures can organizations take to ensure that there's privacy and there's compliance and there's data protection while process mining is accessing probably data across systems?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to sensitive data, there's probably different streams of sensitive data. So as organizations, if someone is running process mining or thinking of doing it on top of sensitive data, then I think the first thing is to understand the benefits of taking those measures, right? What are we going to protect ourselves from, whether it's legal or reputational risks or anything along those lines. And once we know that, then based on that, you can look at and understand the challenges of mining over sensitive data, because one, it can be difficult to define and communicate. Another one could be difficult to enforce in a complex data environment, some of the governance processes. But and I think another one of the biggest challenge with sensitive data is also resistance from the stakeholder community to let you do process mining. So those are some things to think about. And the way to avoid those challenges is first think of defining a policy surrounding that as to, okay, if you're going to do process mining on sensitive data, clearly define the policies along with the stakeholders and make it very transparent. And some of the organizations, global organizations, have regulations that they need to follow. Like in Europe, you need to follow the GDPR for the general data regulation. So you need to bring that into your policy and also let the stakeholder and the data subject groups know that they have an opportunity to go in and edit the data and remove it if they don't want it, especially if you're talking about personnel data. I think that's very important. And once you define the policies, then it's also another measure is to put a governance and cadence in place. How often do you go in and do a governance check to make sure, okay, governance are basically governance and standards, I would say. The standards are, okay, is the data encrypted? Where is it kept? Does it have all the measures that not anyone can go in and access? And then also making sure we have a governance cycle that you keep going back and checking that all these security measures are in place and in alignment with the policies. So that's from the angle of, how would you deal with it more from, if you're doing digital data mining of some of the sensitive data.
Got it. One question from the audience I would like to pick. One of the questions from Prasanna is, as per my understanding, process mining tool only helps in identifying the NVAs in the process, but it will not reduce the workload until stabilization. Is that right?
Yes, process mining, does help identify what the gaps are. Okay, and you would need to augment this with actual automation if you want to reduce like say, for instance, Kavetha was talking about reducing the manual touches. Now, reducing the manual touches means that, you are going to build in a logic that would, help process this without these manual touches. So this would mean, building in that automation or that logic into your, application. And yes, most platforms, provide for this. The platform that we have provides an option to do this automation. And you're right, unless this is done, you don't realize the benefit of the optimization that your process mining unearths.
We have just 1 more minute, so I'm going to quickly ask a rapid fire kind of a question. Anitha, if you want to give one takeaway to our audience today about what they need to keep in mind when they embark upon a process mining initiative, what would that be?
Yeah, so my one takeaway is that when you're doing a large scale digital transformation, it costs a lot of money. And before taking a decision to embark on this journey, do evaluate the current health of your processes and figure out what would be your quickest win. What is the process that you would need to tackle first? And this is where you can leverage process mining. It will help you transform right and also realize value out of your transformation quite quickly.
And one point or takeaway from you, Kavetha?
Yeah, I think I will probably piggyback on what Anitha said. So if you're stepping into this transformation journey, then I would say from running excellence process, top 3 things to think about. First is your data landscape. Make sure your data has quality and you can filter through them for necessary data. Second is securing commitment from stakeholders for reinventing the processes, and then be ready to change the organizational behavior.
I think very key point. The organization readiness is so important for success of any project, and more so in this one. Thank you so much, Anitha. Thank you so much, Kavetha, for joining us in this very interesting conversation. I think given India's value proposition for sure is efficiency and efficiency at scale, process mining exercise can help bring out great opportunities for enterprises. Thank you so much, audience, for joining us, and hope you found this interesting. Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.